Hello and welcome to Penguin Classics On Air. This is Elda Rotor, Editorial Director of Penguin Classics. Today's program is on Noli Me Tangere by José Rizal, the novel that sparked the Philippine Revolution. Personally, I was really excited to learn that Penguin published this major Filipino classic. In more than a century since its appearance, Noli Me Tangere has become widely known as the great novel of the Philippines, and José Rizal, the country's national hero. A passionate love story set against the ugly political backdrop of repression, torture, and murder, Noli Me Tangere was the first major artistic manifestation of Asian resistance to European colonialism. Rizal became a guiding conscience, a martyr for the revolution that would subsequently rise up in the Spanish province. 2012 marks the 150th anniversary of José Rizal's birth, and today I'll talk to two people who have both contributed to bringing Rizal's legacy to more readers in the U.S., the Philippines, and around the world. With us today is Rowena Jiminez. Rowena has lived in the United States for more than 20 years. She has 3 children and has worked in different capacities in several public schools in Massachusetts, certified as a middle-class math teacher. Rowena grew up in poverty in Tondo, Manila. She went to college in Ateneo de Manila in Quezon City and received her master's at Tufts University in Massachusetts. Rowena founded Bagong Kulturang Pinoy in 1998. Rowena organized a community read-a-thon in Massachusetts with the Penguin Classics edition of Noli Me Tangere. She generated interest among adult Filipino immigrants, former Peace Corps volunteers in the Philippines who are now based in Massachusetts, and Filipino-American college students. The goal was to get participants to read the novel together and share in a book talk hosted by the nonprofit group she founded. With this group, Rowena Jiminez promotes Rizal's vision, the love of reading, and most especially, the love of reading among the children in underserved communities in the Philippines. We're talking about Noli Me Tangere, or as it is called famously in the Philippines, the Noli.
This program is brought to you by Penguin Classics. In a world of choices, there's only one real classic, Penguin Classics.
Welcome back to Penguin Classics On Air. Hi, Rowena. Thank you for joining us today. The first question I have is for you to explain the nonprofit organization that you work with, and how did it come about that you chose to do a read-a-thon with the Penguin Classics edition of Noli Me Tangere?
The nonprofit organization that had the book talk called Bagong Kulturang Pinoy Incorporated. It means New Filipino Culture in English. And it's an organization that promotes reading and love of reading among children in poor communities in the Philippines. We got organized 10 years ago, and we sort of evolved as an organization that promotes just that, love of reading, into an organization that aims to promote critical thinking as well, the reading culture that we hope to develop among the Filipino children is sort of a way for us to ensure a critical thinking culture, because for us to be effective thinkers, we have to have access to information and good reading materials, and that's just not possible if you don't have access to books.
And how did it come about that you chose the Penguin Classics edition?
Well, part of it is accidental, and then we sort of got acquainted with, as a result, people from New York, and I think they were advertising their essay contest on Rizal. And then that time, we were thinking of doing a read-a-thon among the children. But it just struck me, oh my gosh, José Rizal is celebrating his 150th anniversary. And I just thought we should do something to promote Rizal and his vision. It's about building the youth, building the future generation, and Rizal was so into that.
It's really interesting. And can you explain the group of people that met? How many people participated, and where did they come from?
Most of them were Filipinos who participated, so there were 16 in the book talk. Most of them had read the Noli before, and they shared this observation that when we read the book as a high school student, we really just glossed over the book. We didn't take it seriously. We didn't think it was a magnificent piece of literature.
What were the general reactions to the book?
Reading it again today had a very, very powerful effect on most of us.
It'd be interesting to hear your opinion about why the Noli is a significant work to the Filipino community in general.
One of the things that came up in the course of our discussions in the book talk was that they often, the Filipinos, the members, the participants in the book talk, often refer to things that they already know, but they're just not discussing them in this light. Like, oh, we already talked about that. We are just not seeing this facet of the Filipino culture, like, the impact of colonization on, worldview, attitude, values, religious belief systems. We just do not connect that to the hundreds of years of Spanish colonization. The Noli is talking about how the colonial masters destroyed our self-image. Like Rizal he wrote about justifying the indolence of the Philippine people. I don't exactly, relish reading that piece of literature, but I was like, why would he try to justify that? But at the foundation of his arguments is that, well, if the colonial masters run the colony this way and the people don't see the need to have aspirations because, why aspire when everything would be taken away from you? So that's one of the things that came up.
I think what's interesting about your response to it is the self-reflection involved with Filipino readers when they read this work. Thank you, Rowena. And I look forward to hearing how the next event goes with Noli Me Tangere, José Rizal's great novel from the Philippines. So you'll have to keep in touch. I wish you the best of luck with growing the community. You're listening to Penguin Classics On Air.
This program is brought to you by Penguin Classics, publisher of 117 Days, this harrowing chronicle of journalist Ruth First's isolation and abuse at the hands of South African interrogators remains an important portrait of oppression and the dignity of the human spirit. 117 Days, now available in paperback.